listening to the Shite Talk podcast show. Shut up and sit down.
Welcome once again to the Shite Talk podcast show. Mark and Ken.
What's the crack?
On episode 243. A little bit slow that time, Ken, to come in.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. I had a bit of a glitch.
Yeah, exactly. We're kind of mid-afternoon, so you're probably on like your nap time.
Yeah, well, ish.
Yes. Can you ever sneak away anywhere for work to kind of like take a few minutes or half an hour to fall asleep somewhere?
In work or like?
In work, yeah.
Not really, no.
Oh, I used to know a person, I still know him, but he used to work somewhere and they were able to hide away somewhere in the factory part of the store, and they actually made a bed and would go up there and have like naps and be like, they're just taking stock, they're just doing stock thing. And be like just sleeping there for half an hour. And he used to take turns. Then they come out and be on the floor, and your man will go off and go, "Where's the key?" Oh.
Did you just out your friend?
I have many friends called Keith, and yeah, he would just go for a nap as well. He's no longer in that job, so.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah, I don't think they'll come after him. Maybe they will. He only had 2 jobs, so it was either one or the other. No, one doesn't have a factory floor, so. Yeah.
Mark.
I sometimes can get naps in when you're waiting on stuff.
Yeah, what? Naps?
Yeah, when you're waiting on stuff. Yeah, but
like what? Just like randomly, like sitting up in your van and just decide you're going to go for a little nap.
Yeah, you open the door and you throw your feet up on the kind of frame thing. And you lean back and you fall asleep, and you think you wake up and you'll be refreshed. You're twice as tired. You aren't even that tired. You're just doing it out of boredom. Like there might be low Wi-Fi signal, so you're just like, I'll have a nap, and sure, your man beside me will wake me up when it's time.
Maybe
he could fall asleep as well.
Yeah, he could decide that he doesn't like you and
kick you out of the van.
Yeah, fuck this guy.
Yeah, Raffman's still going. Leave him on the side of the road. One of our friends got a bit catfished. I won't say who he was, obviously. If I know I've already outed one of our friends already, but I'll try not to out all of them.
Trying to not out everyone.
Yeah. He was apparently he met up with a girl. He got caught. This is the typical line where the person's profile were from face down, so kind of disguises maybe if they're carrying a bit of weight, packing a bit extra pounds. So all you see is basically cleavage and face, and he was just like, she was absolutely nothing like what she was on the photos, and basically she was a lot bigger than what he was expecting. He didn't quite know where she was or whereabouts he went on the date, so I don't know. Maybe he got roofied as well.
He got roofied
because apparently it was half an hour away, and we covered where he lives within a half an hour radius, and he was like, no, wasn't there. I was like, all these places are half an hour away. Anything further is like 45 minutes to an hour away.
Roofies.
And he's like, oh, can't even remember it, man. So the whole thing's a blur. I was just in shock.
Definitely roofied.
Maybe it was a guy.
Yeah.
Is that guy or girl? Don't know. Smell this.
Smell this. Does this smell like chloroform?
It does smell like chloroform. Then I realised, Ken, that someone that I was messaging on Tinder might have actually thought I was catfishing them. They kind of mentally scared me for a while. So I was
mentally scared you.
What?
It mentally scared you.
Yeah, I was like, these are recent photos. that's the thing. It was like, I remember it was a few years ago, and I was messaging this girl, and I was just on my way to a competition, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to a competition, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, we should meet up soon. She was like, yeah, definitely, maybe tomorrow. And I was like, yeah, cool, we'll arrange something. She was like, oh, by the way, could you send me a picture of your face? This is like an up-to-date one. And I was like, yeah, sure. And I was like, she goes, I'll send you one as well. And I was like, grand. I sent her one, and I never heard from her again. I was like, fuck you. I was like, that's what I look like. And I was like, because she sent an update photo, and I was like, okay, yeah. Obviously it wasn't one that you mightn't have thrown a filter on. It's like, this is one that she was probably sitting on her bed, didn't do herself up for. It's like, so I just took it. Yeah, that's grand. She looks similar, and then yeah, she looks similar. Yeah, I was literally on my way. I was running out the door, and I was just literally, while the bag was on my back, I just took a photo, and she was like, I never heard from her again. So she probably was like, she definitely would be like, he looked nothing like the person.
He's a fucking catfish.
Yeah, so like we were trying to see, like, your man, he wouldn't. He goes, I was like, let's see her, and he's like, no, just delete her, blocked her off everything. And I was like, was she real?
Yeah, was she real?
Was it a dude?
Was it? Yeah, was it a dude?
Don't think I kind of just flashed. We probably shouldn't be making these jokes in 2022.
We are anyway.
We are anyway, and you know what? We don't mean any offense by it or anything like that. But yeah, so like, I possibly could have been somebody's catfish.
Yeah, catfish man.
Yeah, catfish man.
Yeah,
exactly. I like, since then, like, I was kind of, I do look like those people. Like, I do look like me in the photos. They're all recently. I think there was one where it was like a competition photo, but it was from a few years ago. But like, all of it was just to demonstrate that I was a sports person. I do sports. I'm sportsy. And so I was like, I'd ask people I'd meet up with, and it's like, were you surprised when you see me, or did I look more or less? And she's like, yeah, your hair was most people are like, yeah, your hair was a little bit different, or yeah, you look pretty much like what you did in photos. And it's like, why? And it's like, oh, just nothing. Just wanted to know. They're like, well, did I look really different? Most of them asked that, and it's like, no, you look similar.
Like, I don't think you've really changed much in the like entire time I've known you.
No, I think I look the exact same for the last 30 years.
Yeah.
Like, a school photo of me, and I go, look very similar. Yeah, it's just my hair would be different things. I'd say. Obviously, if I was like 21, Mark would be like I'd have a fringe going the other way.
Yeah, like, literally, I'd say that's all it really did change. Just your hair, or the odd time you have a little half beard going on.
Yeah, a little Ronnie. Beard, a solid growing beard. So you have this like disgusting goatee.
Yeah, a little kind of like like Three Musketeers kind of goatee.
Yeah, some people said it suited me. Other people said I look horrendous and needed to shave it off. I remember just.
I thought it was all right.
I remember seeing a photo of me after training, but like a training photo, and the old gym, like any gym, because the lights are like industrial sized lights, and everything was bright. It looked like bright orange. It was like, what the fuck is that on my face? I actually went home after I posted that photo. I was like, I'm actually going home and shaving that fucking thing off. And I shaved it off, and I was like, that. I was like, I went down to my parents. I was like, how were you letting me walk around with that thing on my face? They're like, what? It didn't look that bad. It's like, I look horrendous. I went around for 2 years like that.
I did. Like, I never thought it was that bad.
I think it might be just delighting. I think now it's delighting. I was like, I can't believe for 2 years I've been walking around like that. No one has said this to me. So one or two people have complimented me on it. What's wrong with them? They're obviously just trying to fucking let me walk around like an insane person. Yeah, so like that was my experience with the whole catfishing thing. You had never any similar experience?
No, like I kind of avoided the whole.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You're kind of a childhood sweetheart, so you didn't have to do the whole online
I
dating thing.
avoided the whole online dating thing.
You must be like thank fuck for that.
Yeah.
It must be like for people I know who are couples or who were in really long relationships, or even the odd person that I know that fell out of a relationship and then to another one, but it kind of happened like through work or something like that, didn't go online or anything like that. They're all like, "Oh my god, it seems like a fucking shit show to be on that thing." Like, it's like how do you even do it, kind of a thing.
Yeah, like I don't understand it at all. Like I really don't get it.
Yeah, it's just a convenient way to meet people. That's all it is. It's just like instead of going out, you're in work, you're swipe. You're in the toilet, swipe, and then people match with you, and then you take a picture later. You always swipe right. Just take the pic, then choose from the bunch that want you instead of from the wider pool. Swipe right on everyone.
Swipe.
You've used your maximum amount of swipes. You're now off it for an hour or the rest of the day. That's what happens. You use up all your swipes, so you have to wait.
No, that's gay.
Yeah, it's a bit gay. Anyway, we should move on to what we're actually going to be talking about.
Yeah.
This is pretty much what our pre podcast show goes. We talk about our friends, make jokes about ourselves, and then we're into discussing what we go into our podcast with.
Yeah, pretty much.
Very much. So yeah, we're be talking about a story where a girl whose parents are multimillionaires, but yet she's claiming off social welfare in Australia.
As you do.
Very topical, very political. Then we have a woman who, this was all over social media, but we were talking about a mother who went ass over face over ass. Ass over face. That was the first time. In like a PE event, every now and again, and there's these like, instead of making the kids do sports, they make parents do sports.
Yeah,
these things, and dads get way too competitive.
Yeah,
there's always an instance where it's like some kid goes flying, or there's like a kind of a three-legged race, and one kid is being dragged by the dad across the. Does not want to.
Kids like lying on the ground. The dad's just sprinting.
Oh, they only know one thing, and that's winning. That's usually a piece of shite needs to cop onto themselves. Yeah, but imagine if you're like a super competitive like person and it's like really physical, and then your kid doesn't grow up to be anything like you. You must be looking at them and go, "Who the fuck are you? Whose kid are you? You're not my kid. You're not my kid."
Yeah, I've never been like that competitive.
I am always quietly competitive. Like I hate losing, and I'll be quietly like go mental inside if that I'm losing something. If I'm losing anything, I'm like, fuck's sake. And then like we got a pool table recently, and it's got like I'd lose a game sometimes, and I'd be like, fuck this, I'm out of here. But I got a good game. I have to do something upstairs. Be like realistically, be like, fuck that.
You're not the kind of guy like that would throw a mouth guard around after losing a match around.
Yeah, actually, no, that does sound like me as well. Yeah, I mean, maybe sometimes I'm not quietly competitive. Maybe sometimes I'm outwardly competitive as well. Yeah. Oh God, forgot about that. Jesus, yeah, that was my fine. Do you know what? I'm just passionate.
My favorite part of that is that there's a video of it somewhere.
No. Like all my like embarrassing events, there's video footage of it. Yeah, but yeah, that was embarrassing. Couldn't.
We could crack that.
Yeah, it wasn't. Do you know? At least I had an understanding teammates who like comforted me after and realized, it wasn't that bad. Don't worry.
Yeah, don't worry. Don't worry.
Everyone loses their head like at some point, and then I'm like, no, there's not like any poster ever since they ever made had a gum shield flying around it, or they left on websites they left gum shields that people could find.
At least we've never let you forget it.
Yeah, exactly. They're always, he's bringing it back up time after time. Like, I am lucky at one sense that most of the people that were there that day had quit jiu-jitsu. There's only very few of them left, actually, can recall the thing. But now they have a podcast to point to. Yeah, so we'll be talking about that. Another probably embarrassing stuff that's happened where you're kind of like, oh, I cannot actually go back into this room. Then our It Is a Week feature Billionaire Alicia.
Yeah.
Yeah. A woman who wants to marry an inanimate object, a doll. But this is, we've talked about these stories constantly. And generally, if someone wants to marry an inanimate object, they end up being on Idiots of the Week. But Ken says this is the most ridiculous of all the stories. And that's why he brought this segment story back.
Yeah, this one's really, really bad.
That your one takes the absolute biscuit. And that's why she was on our Idiots of the Week. And we're talking about, once again, and generally it's nice to see girls are also doing this. I know they've married trees, but generally it's men that are like marrying a chicken woman thing.
Marry a chicken.
Yeah, and do we have another story? No, I think then it's not an Idiot of the Week, but it was disgraceful kind of a story. An outrageous story. This is one to like build people's like blood pressure up. We want people to go giving it to the podcast when we talk about these types of stories. They were like, always rile them up. We probably shouldn't be mentioning that that's the object of these stories, but it's one of these ones where you go, that's outrageous. And it's Joe Lisette. I think that's right. It's a YCETT. Lisette. I always say with confidence, and people won't question it. I never say it with confidence. I think it's wrong. He was investigated by police after one of his fans found his jokes very offensive, and then rang the police.
As you do,
like it's a rational way to deal with being offended at a comedy show. Is I'm calling the police and having him arrested. I paid 30 quid to see him. Liked everything about it, but like that crossed the line. And
that's too far for me.
I won't see him getting arrested. So yeah, that'll be the show today.
Yeah, let's see how it goes.
Yeah. We'll talk first about this girl from Australia who is basically broke, and she claims that she is hireless, Ken. She cannot get a job and wouldn't be able to hold one down even if she could. So she just wants her parents to give her the inheritance, which she is entitled to, basically. Her dad must have died because she was due to inherit $12 million. But there's two kind of catches to her inheriting money. One, she has to be a functioning member of society, which is kind of abstract thing. Two is she needs to hold down a job, which means there's probably just one thing she has to do is just hold down a job, and she gets basically $12 million, and she's now basically taking welfare recipients of like I think $500 they get a week, and that's what she's basically living off. She's off welfare because she claims she can't get a job and wouldn't be able to hold down a job even if she could.
And what's her reason for not being able to get a job?
So the reason why she says she cannot get a job is that she has ADHD and is like a form of autism as well, which means that she basically doesn't have the attention span in order to actually concentrate and focus on a task that would lead her to be able to hold down a job.
So basically, she got no reason.
Yeah, well, like, see, I don't actually think ADHD is a disorder. Some people will say I have ADHD. Like you said, I had ADHD. And then every now and again, my sisters say, I think you have ADHD. And it's like, why? She's like, well, you keep fucking talking. You never sit still. And yeah, you have all the hallmark signs of ADHD. And it's like, fuck you. You have ADHD. I'm perfectly normal. I have awesome deficit disorder.
Awesome deficit disorder.
Yeah. You have ADHD. Yeah, so like all it basically is, I know people have extreme versions of it or really bad versions of it where they're kind of disruptive and they're kind of loud and they can't control themselves, like having these outbursts. Because I remember there used to be a guy we used to get the bus with, and he had ADHD, and like you could tell he was the loudest person on the bus, and he's like shouting and screaming and just like trying to make jokes constantly about things and like just being loud and has to be loud, like loud for loud's sake, and going like nearly purple. So like I know there are people who have like thing, but you can get drugs to like calm yourself down.
You can get drugs to calm yourself down.
You can. Don't they give you isn't there like a drug that they give to stop kids? Like a lot of like American parents give them even if they don't have like ADHD, just makes them quiet so they're like fucking I don't have to deal with this kid right now. It helps you like concentrate basically. I know people who took before their leaving cert that did take this drug. There's people shouting what it is, but I can't think of what it's called.
I have no idea. I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, but basically it helps you concentrate. Stay more focused. Like people have ADHD, they can take this drug relatively over the counter in some countries, and they would be able to be a functioning member of society and get $12 million.
To be able to calm the fuck down.
Yeah, she says that she understands that why people want her to be a functioning member of society, but you have to look at it from her diagnosis, and that she's not that is just not going to happen. That she's not going to be able to learn how to drive, or because she has ADHD. For instance,
I got bullshit on that.
Yeah, exactly. She says like I won't be able to learn how to drive or anything like that. So I won't be able to hold down a job. I won't be able to get the bus. I have a attention span of a Gant, GNAT.
Nat.
What?
A gnat.
A gnat.
Yeah.
Gnat. So the G is silent.
G silent.
Why is it there then? Why are you there? You're useless. What's NAT for people who don't know? In this case, I of course know what it is, but you should explain it to people just so they don't feel dumb.
What is a NAT?
Yeah, so like explain it for people who don't know.
It's like a little fucking.
Of course, both of us know.
I don't know.
What?
It's like a little fucking thing. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, it's like a little thing. That's what it is.
Yeah, it's a little thing. It's like a little insect thing, I think.
Yeah, it's an insect. It's a bug. Probably like
it's
an
like
ant.
It's like a tiny, tiny little fly.
Yeah, she's 26 and she has had a job before. She was a barista, which lasted about, she says, 5 minutes. in the job.
Oh, very good.
She's currently living with her partner Lorraine and her daughter, and she lives in Sydney, and she can't get any of her father's money, so she basically lives off the dole. She gets $500 a week for yeah, but like literally. But look, I was saying to you off air, it's like, why doesn't she go into a place, offer to give them $20,000 to employ her, and they pay her salary at the end of the year? She's gonna walk away with the exact same money. They're not gonna be out of pocket for employing her, and she gets $12 million for working for a year. And like, basically, they just give her away so she can show, that look at, I'm holding on a job. Realistically, she just gave those people like 20,000 job, and they're not gonna be out of pocket. But if she's able to function in the job, they might keep her on and actually give her a job, and she'd become an actual member of society.
Mark, you're thinking too logically.
Yeah, I know. But like, once again, like, you can get drugs that help you. Like, ADHD is a very treatable disorder.
Yeah, but if you want to get the dole.
But like, surely, I think she's trying to get court order so the money is released to her. She claims that it's her money, and that like her dad's lawyers or whoever's in charge of his estate basically didn't like her and won't give her the money for that reason or stuff like that.
I don't know. Americans annoy me.
Well, it's Australians.
Yeah, well, Australians annoy me a little bit too. They're just like funny talking Americans.
Yeah, but apparently she's claiming for the National Disability Insurance Scheme that's in Australia. The funding cuts for making cases more difficult to do, like get a car license or stuff like that. So she's recognised as not being able to work by the Australian state.
Like, for what? Just because she has ADHD?
Yeah, apparently.
Mark, you should move to Australia then.
I don't have ADHD.
I'd just be like, I have ADHD, I'm not working.
I don't think I'd be let into the country. Be like, sorry, we don't take kindly your type around here. Fuck off.
Yeah.
Go back to your own country. Let them do
Reason for a visit. I have ADHD.
I want to claim your dole. I want to claim your $500 a week and live in abject poverty. Please.
That's right up my alley.
Yeah, but I don't understand like people whose whole ambition is to live in abject poverty and not try to better themselves whatsoever.
Yeah.
Like, I was going to stay in this mess and just not work.
Yeah, I really don't get it.
Yeah, so like I could have a nice car, could be living in a nicer place, but no, I'm just happy living in this shithole, not being able to afford food for my kids, not being able to better them myself in any way, not being able to go on holidays. Oh, fuck it.
Fuck it.
I get to wear a tracksuit that has been cleaned in 2 weeks.
Yeah, like there's I know in this country there's too much shit that you can claim for. That's what the problem is. Like,
I think maybe in Australia there is too as well.
Like your fucking €208 on the dole can turn into fucking 600 very quickly.
Yeah, like if you have a dog, for instance, you get to claim for that.
For your dog?
Yeah, you get an extra bit of money if you have a dog.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, they do checks. But I've known people who like are claiming lone parents allowance, and they have 4 kids with the same person.
Yeah, see what I mean?
This is like
where's the
no questions. But you have 4 kids with the one person. Yeah,
like where's the fucking check on that? Like,
yeah, exactly. Like, oh well, we don't live together.
Yeah, like fucking check up on that maybe.
But yeah, obviously, when you have any kind of like social schemes, there is going to be a certain amount of kind of fraud that goes along with it. We've seen this with COVID. You get like it's very hard to stop, like to get you 100% without fraud. The whole argument is, do you want to live in a country that doesn't have a social net where people, if they fall in hard times, stay in hard times, and you have this.
Well, like, you can have a social net, but like I think it shouldn't be unlimited.
No, it definitely shouldn't be unlimited.
Like it shouldn't be like, oh, if you're on the door, yeah, it's fine. Just stay there. Like it's okay.
Yeah, no,
it shouldn't be unlimited. Like it should be seriously fucking like you've got 6 months, and then we're going to put you into a fast course.
Yeah, but what happens is like people apply for jobs and they say, "Oh well, I've applied for jobs, I've went for interviews, and I just haven't got the job." Because we get times all the time where people apply for jobs, get called for a trial, and never show up. So like we get that all the time where people are just trying to. What we think is happening is people are trying to prove to like of the dole that we're trying to find work, but we can't get someone else has got the position over us. But yeah, there are perfectly people who are able to work, and there should be more checks and balances. I don't know, maybe after several months, I think it should be lowered, like unless you're doing courses or you're signing up for a scheme that allows you go back, like take it like a council job where it gives you kind of the training up on a skill that where you can move on from that council job to private employment. That kind of there should be that kind of schemes in place, but it's getting very serious. This is not what we're about now. We're falling into a trap. Get out.
We've taken the bait. Damn it.
Let's talk about sex dolls. That'll bring us back on track.
That'll alleviate the situation.
Yeah, Jesus. He's getting too serious there. I 100% agree with Minister O'Reilly. Cut dog payments.
Yeah, I don't know. And yes, the sex dolls.
Sex dolls. We love talking about them. I never use them.
So that inflatable dinghy that Mark was always on about, turns out
there was a hole in it from the start.
Yeah, like so we've talked about them like a while ago. We're always kind of talking about them, but like it's usually in the context of men.
Yeah, it's usually like a guy marries a sex doll and it's now cheating on with another sex doll.
Yeah,
but still like, friends.
This isn't even a sex doll.
Oh, is it not?
No, this isn't even a sex doll. This is just like a random doll.
Like a child doll.
Yeah, like it's a bit bigger. Like it is a life-size doll, but it's like a rag doll.
All right, it's like a wrestling dummy.
Kind of with hair and a mustache and a face on it. Like, but
yeah.
Anyway. So this woman from Brazil, I'm not even going to fucking try to pronounce her name. It's just ridiculous. So she found her soulmate in the form of a life-size doll that she has married. Right, so she's 37, and she said her mother made this life-size rag doll called Marcelo, and because she was kind of whinging to her ma that she was single and that she like never kind of has anybody to dance with when she goes to like weddings and shit. So the ma was like, oh, you know what, I'll make you like a fucking boyfriend. Ha 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 ha. Little did she know that she married the fucking thing, and there's 250 people at the wedding ceremony.
Oh, and but surely this Marcelo lad doll would be quite kind of heavy if it's life size. There's a lot of filling. I know filling's not the heaviest thing, but like Some of those dolls are kind of hard to carry around. That's about
Yeah,
it.
I would have kind of assumed that it would have been a heavy enough doll, but she obviously brings it fucking everywhere.
Yeah, she's able to dance with a wedding. She obviously didn't want to, have a conversation. Maybe she's like, he just listens and gets me.
He just understands me.
Yeah. It happens when once you go over 35 and you're a girl, you go slightly insane if you're not hitched down.
He was slightly insane.
Lads is a little bit older, but girls is 35. It's only because I know girls who are like approaching 35. It's not an actual diagnosis of what I think.
Yes, it is. You're talking about this for ages off air.
He's a pig.
Anyway, right, so 250 people went to the wedding ceremony, and a couple of months later she announces that she's pregnant.
Oh, his baby Marcelo it's like Pinocchio. She allowed him to tell enough lies and was able to concede with him.
Yeah, so Marcelo is having a baby with this one, and so it was a painless birth. Surprise.
Yeah, I'd be surprised. Yeah, I'd be surprised if it wasn't.
Yeah, and the birth took 35 minutes.
Was it an actual birth?
Right, we're going to get to that. Right, so it took 35 minutes, and she said it was a wonderful day for me. Very, very important, very emotional day. Marcelo's a man I always wanted in my life. Married life with him is wonderful. He doesn't fight. We don't argue. He just understands me. He's great.
Relationship.
He's great, and he's a faithful husband, and he's such a great man, and all the women envy him. Right? So she said, where does she talk about the birth now? Blah, blah, blah. The wedding was a wonderful day for me. It rained a lot, but it was just a wonderful day. The only downside to him, right? There's only one downside that she has listed about Marcelo. Mark, can you guess what it is?
Small penis. No penis.
He's a little bit lazy. He doesn't work.
He doesn't pull his weight.
Yeah, he doesn't work.
He claims off the dole.
So he's a little bit lazy. But she keeps the family together, and unfortunately,
she minds the kids, changes the nappies.
Unfortunately, Marcelo forgot to wear a condom one night, and she got pregnant.
Oh, this can happen very easily. You just have to have a strong pull-out game.
So
his pull-out game was not good.
He's very lazy, Mark.
You have to ab crunch. This is what you need to do. Ab crunches, people. Get strong core so you can suck it in and you can hold it in and get the hell out of there before you have a pregnant woman on your hands. You have to change country.
Right. So she gained weight. She developed her baby bump and whatever they weighed, and then on the 21st of May, they welcomed their baby child, Marcelino, into the world, and it was a pain-free birth. So she said about the birth, she said, I didn't feel any contractions.
Did her mother make her this child by a chance?
I don't know, because this gets complicated. Right? It didn't feel any contractions, any pain. Seeing the placenta and the umbilical cord and the blood made me know it was happening, that it was all real. And he was here 35 minutes later, and he's great. It really upsets me that people think this is fake, and it makes me so angry.
Your one stole somebody's baby.
No. Like the baby is actually. Hang on, I'll send you a picture of the baby with the child. With the father.
It's an actual baby.
Hang on, I'll send you a picture.
Well,
now they do look alike, so it is possible that this is really the baby's father.
I'm confused by this. Is it a fake baby or is it a real baby, Ken?
I just sent you a photo of the baby and the father.
All right. So it's a fake baby. So yeah, it's a doll. I know. Yeah, did you know the baby? Like, it's a very clean baby. It already has its eyes open, which which is good. It has a bit of a unibrow. It is going to get bullied, but like the fact that it's as hairy, it's a very hairy baby. I think it still has a bit of blood on its hands from the birth. Maybe the dad should get up of his lazy hole and wash his hands. His hands are bright red. So I don't know. Maybe he's playing with strawberries or something. And he has a very hairy nose.
But he does look like his father.
He does look like his father now, in fairness. They're wearing similar-ish clothes as well. It's some parents like
there's no denying that is his father.
That do you know, like he wouldn't get away with like running away. You'd be able to spot him a mile off.
Yeah.
So basically Hiron has the child, has the fella, has to work, has to then feed and change the baby now.
But I don't understand how she kind of had a birth.
The placenta.
Yeah.
Don't know, Ken. I really don't know. Maybe she was on drugs.
Yeah, I really don't know.
But we don't. It was a stork. A stork delivered the baby. Ken, that's where babies come from. Remember?
Oh yeah, sure. I should know this.
Yeah, storks deliver babies, and she just had a stork deliver the baby to her. But yeah, it was just kind of it's kind of weird that with placenta, because for people who haven't copped on, it was a teddy. I kind of feel like we have to dumb our podcast down for the lowest level of intelligence.
What's common denominator?
Yeah. So it was a teddy, but I don't know why people encourage this.
Yeah, I don't know. Like what the story.
I know people say the same thing about us doing this podcast, but I don't know why people necessarily go, "Oh yeah, I'm going to go to your wedding over this," or the mother making her, like, his mother obviously did it as a kind of a bit of a joke, kind of like ribbing her, and then your own took it. I'm actually madly in love with this thing.
Yeah, I really don't get it at all. Like, I don't understand what the fucking story is with it.
But like, I guess if they're happy, they're happy. I guess that's what parents and family and friends are going to probably say. But like, yeah, kind of feel like, get on Tinder, start catfishing lads, and go on, move on with yourself.
Start catfishing lads.
Get tips. Upper photos down of just cleavage and face.
Start catfishing lads, you'd be grand.
Yeah. If eventually somebody will like, do you know what? She'll do. She'll do. Do you know? Throw her in. Go on. Get in there. She'll do.
Throw her in our ham sandwich there and bring her out for dinner.
Yeah. Do you know what? Talking about like desperate women, Billionaire Alicia also makes her ages a week.
Who?
Billie Eilish.
All right. Okay. Yeah.
She also said that she's been very dramatic. Like, isn't necessarily what she said. This is the contents. Like, she wants to have a child, basically. She said, "I want to be a mother in the worst way," but instead of saying it like that, and it'd be like, "Oh, cool," in a few years' time, or whenever you feel like it's your time to have a child, she'll go off, or she meets the right lad and have a child. No, but she said, "I'd rather die than not have a kid."
Fair enough.
I was kind of like, maybe that's not the right mindset to be going into, like, to going from one extreme to the other is the right mindset to be raising a kid with. It's either death or I have a kid.
That's just the way some people are.
Just like, I'm gonna either, like, if I'm whatever age and I don't have a kid, I'm just gonna throw myself off a bridge.
So it works.
That's the way it works, Mark. Everyone knows this. If you don't have a kid, your life is incomplete.
Yeah, obviously.
Just have a teddy.
Just have a teddy.
Telly. Yeah, let's have a telly. Yeah, I said Teddy, but yeah, telly's much better.
What more would you want?
A babe station.
Station.
Why look after a kid when you can look after someone's kid twirling their tits around while phoning into them?
Oh, Mark.
Remember that a few years ago where some guy rang in and was just like having a regular conversation. She was like trying to do sexy talk to him, and he's like, "Yeah, fine. What are you doing? I'm having a sandwich." Oh, what's you have on a sandwich? Ham. She's like, I don't know what to do with this.
What am I going to do here?
Yeah, and she's like, "All right, it's a nice. Yeah, it's grand. Yeah." She's like,
Lovely sandwich.
Yeah, she's like, you know what to do. She's kind of looking into the camera. The director's like, "What do I do here?" Rub nipples. Oh yeah, sandwiches.
So sandwiches, Mark.
Yeah, so I thought that was hilarious. So yeah, that's my advice to Billie Eilish. Get a television. Get a good package off your TV provider. And there
Have some sandwiches.
have some sandwiches. Don't go into porn. Don't do Paige Van Zandt on it.
Right, Paige Van Zandt not get the TV package.
She's in the TV package. She's one step away from working for Babe Station.
It seems to be the way that like female fighters are kind of going.
There is a growing level of like of them where like Ronda Rousey would do certain things, like she do Sports Illustrated where she was naked but she wasn't showing any body parts. She didn't have like an OnlyFans or anything like that, but she was incredibly she was a good looking girl. So and she used her looks in order to progress her career. But then other girls, like, they're as good looking or sometimes more good looking. Like Paige Van Zandt's better looking than Ronda Rousey, but they don't necessarily have the skill level to back up or their personality. So they focus in on the like looks aspect and just like pretty much basically porn stars or just marketing. And like fair play to them, making a fortune for it. You kind of criticize them for doing it, but there's obviously a market there for it. But yeah, it's like which is bad, like, because there are some athletes out there which is like, I don't want to be. I remember there's a Croatian footballer, and she was voted the hottest footballer on the planet, and she's like, I don't want my looks. I don't want to be complimented on my looks. I want to be complimented on my football. And so she's kind of very much like, judge me for my action. And when you have athletes like Van Zandt and maybe a few the other ones where they're leveraging their looks and they're entitled to do that, but they're kind of like, you wonder, do they have a right to do that, or are they just bringing female athletes in and the whole that whole thing? Or if one lads are commenting on girls' looks and they're like, why aren't men taking us serious as athletes? And they're like, well, there's a bunch of you on OnlyFans, maybe that's why.
Yeah, like that's definitely got to impact it.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. Like, you don't see, and I know wage and pay and all this comes into it, but there's women on like you, especially with UFC, they're on similar money. Depends on how much money you're on, how much you win, where you are in your rankings of what pay you get. And they're like, well, we're doing this because we get more money for fighting.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, like it's kind of like, it is a bit shitty.
Well,
like that, like you wouldn't see like a male fighter going out and being like, yeah, you know what, I'm gonna sell dick pics.
Well, maybe not dick. Yeah, you want to get dick pics. But he's like, Cristiano Ronaldo has his own underwear line, so he's done like shoots where he's only in his underwear, so he's in his tighty whities, and like he's done like photo shoots where he's topless and he's showing off his like chiseled abs, and there's plenty of male footballers that do use their looks in order to sell products, but it's more they're selling to a male audience who are looking like I would want. That's my ideal of what I would like to be as a man, rather than women like getting a bit wet and sticky over the kind of got milk advertisements.
Got milk advertisements.
Yeah, like like men, they don't go into like necessarily OnlyFans, and you could argue like that's probably overpay, and like you wouldn't like if a man did open, like if a footballer or a rugby player did open an OnlyFans, you wouldn't have men at least coming out and complaining that like them doing OnlyFans is lowering the kind of perception of male athletes around the world. But because like some women athletes do leverage, do very like exotic photo shoots, and are kind of have their looks on display. Ones that want to be taken maybe seriously, and only once they're like athletic prowess focused on or like considered in the conversation, and don't want their actual looks to be taken into account, or like, I'm not being taken seriously. Why is this happening?
Yeah.
There is probably like both have a rightful argument, and one shouldn't necessarily impact the other.
Yeah, it's just it's a weird kind of
situation that
it's a weird industry.
Well, see, like sport watching is predominantly done by men. So there's a large male audience. So if women break into that sport, where majority still even watch women sport are probably men. So probably like it probably gets a little bit closer between men and between people who watch just men's sport. But I'd still say the vast majority of people who watch women's sport are men.
Yeah, probably.
And so like obviously. And probably heterosexual men, so they obviously find certain athletes more attractive than others, and they're going and when on social media you're going to comment on that. So I just think it's a bit of like nature, like kind of thing. Some like it was taken away. Like, you're not going to take that out of like the male psyche, where they're not going to find things attractive and talk about on podcasts or anything like that. It's a very very like deep show, isn't it?
Yeah, what the fuck happened this week?
No. We were talking about sex dolls, and somehow managed to go from sex dolls and Billie Eilish wanting a child, and me calling her an idiot a week for doing so, to like women's sport. It's a very weird segue.
Yeah, it was a very show.
Yeah, very show. We do still have one more story to get onto before we actually hit the road. And that is now I think that was our last of the week. So this is just a story. Oh, did we talk about your man getting arrested?
No.
Oh, okay. I was like, I think we might have. Did we not?
I don't think so.
I don't know.
Maybe we did.
Because I remember fucking up his name.
Maybe we did.
Yeah, I think
I can't remember though if we were recording or we talked about it beforehand.
Oh, see, I remember fucking up I think I fucked up his name, calling Joe Lucette. And he was investigated by police for telling an offensive joke.
Oh, maybe.
I don't think maybe I fucked up someone else's name. I do so often.
Yeah.
I think it was your one's name. Maybe I fucked up. I think you're right. I don't think we talked about it. But if we did, it's a recorded podcast. We can fix it. So we'll talk about it now. So Joe Lucette is a British comedian, and he's been investigated by police for telling a joke, Ken.
And why has he been investigated by police for telling a joke?
So he took to Twitter to explain what happened, and he said, so someone came to my tour show a few weeks ago and got offended at one of the jokes, and they're perfectly understandable and response to being offended by a joke was to call the fucking police. So they were at his show, obviously, he bought a ticket, went in, laughing up like most of the jokes. One came along that didn't suit him, and they rang the police. And the police actually had to investigate. So he got called by police saying, we have to investigate alleged what's the language you use for hate speech? Under hate speech laws, we have to investigate this. So he had to basically fill out a police report to say about the context of the joke in which he was making, and then the police had to decide whether it constitutes a hate speech or if it goes into as he's a comedian telling a joke.
And does it give an outcome? What? Like?
Oh yeah, like he said, the police said that they're obligated to investigate. They had to basically investigate this. That they didn't see anything wrong and didn't require any further investigation or punishment into the event, but that they had to see to basically take the matter seriously. So if the person goes, I claim this happened at a show and it wasn't investigated, police officers get in trouble for doing it. But they had basically have proof that they investigated the matter, they looked into the matter and came to the conclusion that it wasn't. I think it was still led to your man having to fill out a police report, have to take time out of the day. And if there was an officer that was maybe possibly more offended or easier, then maybe they do actually arrest him. Like, there's plenty of comedians that make race jokes. Imagine if the joke was directed at a certain ethnicity. Does that officer hold the right to then arrest a person if it was hate speech?
That I don't know.
So yeah, so the fact that the law is there, the fact that it has the power, like I know what people say is like, well, clearly this shows that the law isn't being abused, that the police are going to use their common sense, and that people still have free speech. But no, like it still had to be investigated. So still is the possibility of a person who's doing their job, telling jokes, getting arrested, getting like dragged off stage, or getting arrested at the end of a gig, and going to jail, or going to basically face prosecution for telling like a joke, which like in the context of a place where people are telling jokes, it's their job to tell jokes. If you're putting yourself in that environment, shouldn't you be prepared to be offended?
I don't understand calling the cops because you were like what? Because he was offended by a joke. I don't really get that.
Yeah, like exactly. Like I don't understand why the police had to do any other. Say like, no, that doesn't count as hate speech. You're at a comedy show.
Yeah, like I don't get it.
Like I do understand where like there needs to be a law to protect people who are on the Lewis, for instance, getting like verbally abused by some guy just because of the colour of their skin or just because of where they come from. I fully understand why that needs to be a law and why people like that should be arrested. Like that's just abuse. Like no one should have to go onto like a public place and be abused because of who they are, where they're from, or their sexual or whatever the word is. Yeah, like I fully understand that part of it. But like in terms of going to a comedy show and people talking about race, talking about sexuality, talking about this thing, all these things shouldn't be pulled off stage and thrown into prison cell for talking about these things. There's a line in context that should be going into these things where you need to be able to offend people in order to have proper discourse.
I really don't know why though. Like even if you were offended by something, like why are you calling the cops about it?
Yeah, exactly. Imagine going. I'm going to leave. I'm going in the lobby here for a second, and then ringing 999. Go hi. Like goes on to like the answering people and like, who do you want, please? Okay, I've just been verbally abused by a comedian at a show. Send a SWAT team. Send a canine unit. This guy might go down with a fight.
I really don't get it.
But what kind of got me was not that there was a crazy person out there that rang the police. Like, that's bad enough. But the fact that the police actually, by law, had to investigate
it. Like, fucking... But much, I don't know. Like, that's just fucking really, really weird.
Yeah, it's very petty.
I'm gonna call the cops now, Mark, because you made a joke.
Oh yeah, it's a good thing our podcast isn't that much more popular. Well,
you made a joke about the Lord Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah, but imagine you make a religious joke.
Yeah, like
you're justifying the whole concert being shot at, aren't you? Well, remember Eagles of Death Metal? And was over revenge over the illustrator making a remark at the Prophet Muhammad or something like that.
Was it?
Yeah, there was a caricature done in France that wasn't flattering, and then basically like Muslim radicals basically put a bomb in the thing and blew up the building. So then the police, or the French authorities, went down heavily on the whole thing. There's a terrorist attacks then in France over because they wouldn't apologize for her, and they basically kept printing on the anniversary. They printed in all the newspapers the same kind of picture. So then they retaliated by blowing up a bomb in a concert and having the shootings.
And that's what I don't remember the Eagles of Death Metal thing being about that.
Yeah, I think it was in retaliation about the stance that France took on that caricature. I know
France went a bit soft.
Why?
I don't know, just because they're France.
Yeah, but that was the whole thing on that was in terms of we're gonna protect our free speech. Like, people should have the right to make jokes and not be sentenced to death or thrown into a prison cell. And Britain's like, hold on a second. Maybe they do. Maybe they do.
We've gone serious again now, Mark.
Yeah, no, it's hard. We keep falling into it. I thought this part I always thought would get more seriously bit, and maybe kind of gone like, oh, well, yeah, that's hate speech law. You just have to deal with Mark. That's hate speech law, and we might get into a bit of an argument over the whole thing. But yeah,
we've done that before.
Yeah, it has happened. But yeah, I can't believe we're kind of bewildered. I remember there was a girl who wore I think it was a "Fuck Blair" T-shirt, and the police fined her for.
Yeah, you can't wear anything that has an offensive word written on it.
Yeah, which once again I disagree. I understand it is an offense right now, but I just disagree with the whole thing.
It's it's offending public decency.
Yeah, kind of like shouting is. So if you are in a lift and you mimic that, remember skit show, you're like, I'm in a lift, and you hold up the giant phone. Do that with police officers, they'll arrest you for public indecency. Possibly.
Yeah, I don't one that I kind of I don't really understand. You know, do you ever see people complaining because they got fucked out with Disneyland?
Yeah.
So they're complaining because they got thrown out of Disneyland because they were told they were wearing something that was inappropriate. But it tells you, like, on your Disneyland tickets and stuff, that certain inappropriate dress will get you removed from the park. And they don't just like fuck you out. Like, they'll be like, you need to change.
Yeah.
Like, so I don't understand how people go like about it when going in that you can't wear certain things.
Yeah, no, I understand the dress code. Like, if you go to a golf course, you're going to have like a collar. Or if you go to a nightclub, they'll be like, you need shoes or whatever. That's their private business. They're entitled to have rules that, like, bar certain things or certain people or certain age groups. That's their right as a private business. But I think in terms of, like, a public space, having stuff like that, I don't think it's right. Private business is differently, because I remember this golf course got brought to court over because it was the forbid women into the course. They wouldn't allow women play on the golf course because it was like an old rule where women weren't allowed on a golf course. There's like there's a joke that used to be made it's called for golf. It was like, it was a synonym of a word called gentlemen only, women forbidden. And that's what the was, and they kind of like used to ban women from the golf course. No women were allowed to play golf there. So I think a female golf group brought them to court, and the judge upheld their ruling, saying they're a private business. Like, there's a lot of examples of women only clubs, and it's their right as a private business to have these things.
Yeah, I don't understand people that complain about it. It was the same during like COVID and stuff. People complaining about fucking shit like, I don't have to wear a mask in here because it's my right. Yeah, but it's part of like the fucking dress code to get in now. Sorry.
Yeah, it's a private business. We say you wear a mask to get in, you have to wear a mask to get in.
Yeah.
It's my right. It's a private business.
Yeah, like, fuck off. Like, management reserves the right of admission, so fuck off.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, if they came in and start effing and jaying and, like, cursing some employees out, I'm pretty sure they'd be kicked out.
Like, you're not going to let somebody in who's not wearing shoes.
Yeah, or clothes. Yeah. Anyway, I think we reached the hour and we're getting way too serious. Maybe we should just wrap up. And next time, maybe we just do podcasts at night, and when we're a bit kind of less lucid. We're getting to like where it's 1 o'clock now when we record the podcast. It's actually coming up to 3. So we're probably prime lucidity, and we're probably just too serious. Whereas when we're at night, we're just like a little bit more delusional, and we're kind of, our minds start to slip. So we just make dick jokes.
Dick jokes. Yeah, that's probably fair.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll leave it there. We'll be back next week with another show.
Yeah.
Talk to you then.
Good luck.
Oh, no.